Oh, turn off the protection pupper 5000. Now, where did I put that key ring? Where is it? Ah!
Weapon system armed.
Darn it, I always forget the turrets.
Weapon system deactivated.
Home sweet home. Oh, almost forgot to put the chain on. Oh, hey, darling, I'm home. Did you miss me? I sure missed you. Work was such a drag without you. I kept on staring at the app I have on my phone to track you, making sure you were still home. Every minute I'd look back at it. It was like 15 seconds of making sure you were still there, then 45 seconds of actual work, rinse and repeat, well, you get the idea. And the whole time I was just thinking, what if they found a way to cheat it or get the tracker out or something? What if they actually escaped? But I guess I'm just a bit of a worrywart is all. You're still here, obediently waiting for me by the door to come home. Well, kind of by the door. The chain I put around your ankle doesn't have the length to let you get too close to the exit. I can't have you escaping after all. Not to suggest that you've been trying to escape. I know you wouldn't do that. Because you've been such a good darling for me. And I completely recognize how much effort you're putting into that. I know we've only been together a little while. It's been about a week since I don't want to say kidnapped you necessarily. But it's been about a week since I relocated you to your new home with me. And it definitely wasn't a kidnapping. Even the authorities were all, well, if they're into it, it's not really a kidnapping, now is it? I don't know if wiser words have ever been spoken. Yes, it's been about a week since you've eagerly joined me in our new home together. And it hasn't been too long since our wedding either. I'm so happy we were able to get married. It's always been my dream to get married. To you, that is. Without you, I would have just stayed single for the rest of my life, because I can't have anyone but you. I'm so happy I was able to marry you. Honestly, I was so worried that no one would be willing to officiate our wedding. You know, because I'm a crazy stalker who devotes a fourth of her time at work to making sure you're still chained up at home. But it looks like Juniper was more than willing to do it. She makes a lot of yandere content, and it turns out she has a license too, so I guess she was more than willing to officiate my marriage to you. It's amazing what you can do with connections, isn't it? Anyway, I was sure I had a point in telling you all this. What was it? Oh, right! What I was getting at is that we haven't even been married that long, but you've still been such a good darling for me. You're acting with a level of trust so high, it's like we've been married for centuries. You haven't tried to escape even once. You don't pull at your chains. You don't try to squeeze between any of the bars I have on the windows. Not that you would fit anyway. They're only an inch apart. You are just so perfect. Such a good darling. And so, I want you to know how grateful I am to you for that. I brought you a little something, actually. I stopped by the store on my way back from work. It was such a pain to have to stop at the store and wait even longer to get home to you. But I did it for you because I wanted to get you something special as a token of my appreciation. So, check this out. I got you this. Drumroll, please. Cake! I made sure to get you one in the shape of a heart because I love you. It also has a heart drawn on it with frosting as well, and the words I love you written on it. Maybe I'm being a bit redundant, but I can't help it. I really just love you, and I want to say it any way I can, even with baked goods. I can feed it to you if you like. I'm already spoiling you, so I might as well go the entire way. I don't like to do anything half-heartedly, especially when it comes to love. You have my whole heart. I mean, you already know that from first-hand experience. That's why you've got the chain. But I can understand if you maybe don't want to eat the cake right now, in case there's something else you want to do first. The cake's not the only thing on the menu, if you catch my drift. It is a good cake, though. Maybe you do want to eat it first? I mean, I'd certainly want to eat it in your position, but that's mainly due to how romantic it is, not necessarily because of how good the cake tastes. You do think it's romantic, don't you? Getting a cake with at least 3 layers of love in it from your caring spouse is pretty romantic in my opinion. I just wish I made it for you myself instead of buying it from a store. It would have been more touching, and I could have put more of my love in it. And by love, I mean actual love, not my blood or love nectar or anything like that. But I've been so busy with work recently, I never really have time to make things for you. Work's been so overwhelming lately, I haven't had the time to do lots of things. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, you name it. It'll get better in about a month, but until then, I'm pretty slammed. Say, you've got lots of time, don't you? I mean, you stay here all day since I never let you go outside. Well, okay, that's not exactly true since you stay here willingly, but you get the idea. You stay here all day. You've got lots of free time. How would you like to be a bit more domestic for me, You're already my spouse, but now you could be a house spouse. It rhymes. There are lots of things that need to get done, and you'd really be such a sweetheart by helping me out. Do you think you could be good for me and do them? Now, obviously, you're already my good darling, but you could be even more of a good darling if you could do them for me. I could teach you everything you need to know. How to cook, how to clean, even how to greet me when I come home. For instance, the classic, would you like dinner, a bath, or me? That's always a solid choice. You should be warned, though. I'm always going to choose you in that situation. It's not even a contest. I could have been on a hunger strike for a month and I'd still choose you when I get home. Still, I do appreciate the offer of various choices. Gives me a nice to-do list. You, then anything else. Oh, and don't forget to give me lots of kisses when I get home. You can absolutely destroy my face with 1 billion kisses at terminal velocity. Don't worry, I can take it. It would be good if you could greet me in an apron, too, even if you weren't actually cooking anything just before I got home. Nothing says house spouse quite like an apron. Jeez. Now I really do want to see you in an apron. And take pictures, of course. I want to take lots and lots and lots of pictures of you in an apron, or many aprons. I'll buy you a whole wardrobe of cute aprons, maybe even embroider 1 or 2 myself, and teach you to embroider them too. I just know you'd look so cute in it, which means it's a good time to give you an excuse to wear an apron. Come with me to the kitchen. I'll teach you how a good house spouse like you should cook for their doting wife. That's me. Okay, so now I've got everything laid out for you, all the necessary ingredients and everything else we need. We'll be using some salt and pepper, some olive oil, some garlic, some butter, parsley, and of course we can't forget the chicken thighs. It'd be silly to just eat garlic, butter, parsley, wouldn't it? We'll be making my garlic butter chicken thighs that you always wolf down. They're delicious, so I can't blame you for being obsessed with my thighs. All right. First things first. You see these thighs? They're too wet. We need to pat them down with paper towels to get them all dry. We need to get the thighs nice and sticky so the seasoning will stick to them, which will only happen when they're dry. Now, would you like to do the honors and pat down these thighs? Oh, good. I knew you'd be up for it. Go ahead, I'll just watch. You're doing so great, my love. You seem really into it for some reason, though. I had no idea you'd be into cooking this much. Maybe we should do this more often. Okay, I think that's enough. Honey, I said that's enough. The thighs have been sufficiently patted down. Honey! Oh, okay. Now for the next part. This is super simple. We just season both sides with the salt and pepper. I'll do these two. You watch me, okay? Like so. Just a little pinch. And another little pinch. There you go. See? Wasn't that easy? Now why don't you try it with the other thighs? Try not to use too much salt and pepper, though. If you use too little, the thighs will taste plain, which kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. If you use too much, though, it'll ruin them. You can't unsalt something. No pressure, though. This is all just a learning experience. Making mistakes is also part of that experience, so it's okay, sweetie. You can make mistakes with me. Also, even if you mess yours up, we can just have my thighs for dinner. Wow, you did great, sweetheart. You seasoned them just like I did. It's like you seasoned them to be the exact same percentage that I did, to the 5th decimal place and everything. That's perfect. I think you've got a bit of a knack for this. I'm so happy. You really are turning out to be such a good house spouse for me. Thank you. But if I just let myself fawn over you nonstop, we'll be here all day and the thighs will never get done. Okay, now on to the next part. We need to mince the garlic. This is a lot more challenging than just patting down some thighs or seasoning them, so please pay attention to me, okay, sweetie? All right, so first of all, we need a large chef's knife. Not a steak knife, nothing with serrated edges. There we go. Thankfully, I always keep one on hand. Oh, come on, don't give me that look. Now, taking the chef's knife, we cut off the root end of the clove of garlic, just like this. And we have to do it on the cutting board, obviously, because the counter is gross, just like all the other women in the world except for me. You still with me? Still following along? Okay, good, sweetie. Now, we have to peel the garlic. Now, to do this, we have to gently tap the garlic clove with something like a glass or jar. Fortunately, we have a jar right here on the counter, the one I used to keep strands of your hair. So, using that, just watch me tap it with the bottom of the jar, just like this. Tap, 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 tap. And ta-da! Look how easy it is to peel the skin off now, huh? See, it comes right off. Just like the heads of every girl who ever... Oh, sorry. Forget what I was saying. Back to the garlic. Now we use the very tip of the knife to cut thin vertical slices into the garlic clove. The number one thing to remember is to make sure you are very firmly holding the knife. It can be easy to cut yourself at this part, and I don't want anything to happen to those precious fingers of yours. So the most important thing to remember is safety. Just watch. And now we also make a cut horizontally. Lastly, we make thin slices crosswise to mince the garlic into tiny little pieces, just like this. Okay, now did you get all that? Do you think you could be good for me and try mincing the garlic now, just like I showed you? I'll watch. Okay, I can't wait to see you in action. And don't forget, safety first. Watch those fingers. You're really so good at this. I knew I made the right choice by picking you. Well, there really weren't any other choices, though. You're my perfect house spouse, after all. It's so much easier to deal with work when I know that when I get home, I'll be immediately de-stressed by the sight of you. Preferably in an apron. Maybe with some icing or something on your face that I can get for you. Huh? Oh, yeah, you did a great job. Sorry, I was daydreaming a bit about icing and Your bare skin and icing on your I wasn't really paying attention. Whoops. But yes, this is certainly some minced garlic if I've ever seen it. I couldn't have done it better myself. Thank you so much for being such an excellent and attentive learner. You're such a good darling. Now that we've got the garlic all minced up, we just need to chop up the parsley. It's not that difficult, especially compared to the garlic. It's really simple. Just chop it up like you would any herb, really. Like this. Chop, 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 chop. I like to imagine it's the fingers of love rivals when I do it. Chop, 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 chop. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not really necessary for chopping up the parsley. It's just nice to do, though. You don't have to do it. Okay, now that we have the fingers, I mean the parsley, all chopped up, we need to brown the chicken. I've already got the skillet over the stove, so all we need is to add the olive oil. See how I'm making sure there aren't any spots without olive oil? That's important. Then we just put the heat on medium and add the thighs. We don't need to move the thighs around in the skillet. We just leave them as is. And once they're no longer stick to the skillet, that means they're ready to be flipped over. While they're getting cooked, that gives us a good opportunity to melt the butter. So we just put in the little square of butter right in the side of the pan, right over here. Oh, and the butter should be unsalted. I forgot to mention that. But now, put the butter in the side right over there. And wow. Oh, doesn't that just sound wonderful, sweetheart? Just listen to them scream. Oh, sorry. I was imagining love rivals again. But never mind that. Now that the butter is getting all melted in the pan, we add the garlic we minced earlier. So here we go. Next, we stir it to combine the garlic and the butter and the screams of the garlic and the butter. We'll have to let it cook a little bit longer. In the meantime, we have some time to talk. Maybe I can fit in another house spouse lesson for you here, I mean, you're so good and such a good house spouse for me already. But there's always something I can teach you. Like when you're making our bed. After you're done, try to roll around in it a bit if you can. You know when you get new sheets that are all clean and they have that clean scent, which is certainly nice. But I much prefer your scent. So if you roll around in bed after you're done making it to get your scent all over it, that would be great. I would really like that. I mean, it might get the sheets all wrinkly, but honestly, that's a price I am more than willing to pay. There really isn't anything my nose loves more than your scent. You'd also be a real sweetheart if you could send me texts while I'm at work. Nothing gives me more motivation than getting attention from you. Especially when you say you love me, or you miss me, or you hope that I'm having a good day. That's really the best pick-me-up I could ever ask for. It doesn't just have to be sweet things like that, though. I like getting any texts from you. It could just be a generic text about your day. Something like, wow, the chain around my ankle feels so comfortable today. I barely notice it. Or maybe, I oiled your knife collection, darling. Look how spotless they are. Or maybe even, the bars on the windows make me feel so safe. No one is breaking in to take me from you. You know, generic, normal things like that. Or you could send me cute cat gifts. I'd love them especially just 'cause they're from you. Oh, hey, I think it's done cooking now. Let me just turn off the heat. We're not done yet, though. We still have to bake it in the oven, so we'll just transfer everything into a sheet pan like this. And then put it all in the oven like this. I already have the oven heated from before, so we don't have to wait for it to be ready. Now, as for how long we put them in, really, I just like to check periodically to see when they look done. It's not the most proper thing, but everyone does it. As for a guideline, putting it in for 30 minutes at 350 degrees is a solid choice. You could also put it in for 25 minutes at 400 degrees if you want them juicier. Anyway, once it's done, all we have to do is slather the garlic and butter all over the chicken to coat it. Then we garnish it with the parsley, and we're done. It'll be a while before the chicken is done cooking. Hopefully the wait is worth it. I have faith that it will turn out great since you've been doing everything so perfectly. You really are such a perfect house spouse. And a very, very, very good darling, the best darling. My darling. You pick up everything I teach you so quickly. It just makes my mind go wild. What should I teach you next, How to cuddle me? Oh, you already know how to do that. Maybe how to give me back rubs or something more intimate? Well, I suppose there's no reason to stress over it, is there? I'll have the time to teach you everything eventually, since we'll be together forever. Come on. While the chicken cooks, we can have a little bubble bath. Good house spouses deserve bubble baths.